So, yeah, they made a horror version of Winnie the Pooh. Let me just say that again. They made a horror version of Winnie the Pooh. It's called Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. It came out earlier this year. I remember, I think, last year seeing the trailer for it, thinking that it was a parody, like a sketch, like a Funny or Die type thing. But it wasn't. It's a genuine movie that's 100% legit due to like copyright laws and the character becoming public domain and things like that. I'll link to a detailed article below for anyone who wants to do a deep dive on that. But yeah, they made a horror version of Winnie the Pooh. Directed by Rhys Frake Waterfield, I think that's how you say it, who also co-wrote the script, and I'm imagining had many jobs on this movie, given the kind of the style of movie and the type of budget that it had. So we open with a short sketch animation style sequence that basically retells the traditional story of Winnie the Pooh and friends and Christopher Robin, the boy who discovered them. It's so far so familiar. But this story then extends itself to beyond the fairy tale that everyone knows and loves. It takes us a few years beyond that. Christopher Robin starts to get older. He starts to visit less and less. Eventually, he grows up and is heading off to college to become a doctor. So he says a kind of a final farewell to Pooh and friends and goes off to become a doctor. But Pooh and friends don't take kindly to this. They're not happy about the fact that Christopher Robin abandoned them. Cut to what is, present day, and Christopher Robin is a grown man. He's in his, probably late 20s, I would say. He has came back to 100 Acre Woods with his now wife because he wants to show her that the stories he told her weren't just childhood fantasies, they were actually real. They eventually find Pooh and friends in 100 Acre Woods, but it's not the warm welcome that they were expecting. And you can guess, some of what probably happens. We then cut to what is presumed our main character, a woman called Maria. She is in therapy. She's working through some shit. More on that later. Her therapist suggests that she take a little time off, that she takes a little holiday. So Maria decides to do this. She goes with 3 or 4 of her friends to a cabin in the woods. As you do, nothing ever goes wrong when people go to cabins in the woods. Wouldn't you know it, the woods in question is 100 Acre Woods. And who's there? Pooh and friends. So that's basically the plot of Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. But is it any good? Does it Winnie the Pooh us over? Or is it a pile of poo? I can't promise that's the last poo joke I'm going to make, but I'll try. Yeah, it's pretty shite. I mean, that's maybe a little bit too harsh, but, the pun was right there. It's not great. Not going to lie. It is not a great movie. It's not even a good movie. It's a low-budget horror movie. It was apparently shot in just 8 days. That alone is an amazing achievement. Props to the filmmakers for making a feature movie in 8 days. That's quite the feat. So, well done on that front. But the low budget aspect of this movie really does shine through in parts. The performances are a bit all over the place. The acting levels are very inconsistent. The actor who plays Christopher Robin actually does a pretty decent job. There's another female character who's introduced quite late in the game, and her performance is actually very good and very believable. But that kind of draws attention to the fact that the performances of the other main characters aren't amazing. The visuals, at times the visuals are actually really good. Some of the stylistic nighttime shots in the woods with like backlight and stuff like that works really well and looks relatively professional and relatively high end. But then there'll be shots at nighttime where it just looks like cheap digital video, or at best it's like a soap opera that's been shot. And so when the good is good, it points out and highlights when the bad is being quite bad in terms of the visuals. So that's both a plus and a minus for them. I can imagine that there's a there's a 15-minute version of this movie that's like a short film, and it's like a showreel or a calling card for the filmmakers, where it's the cool concept and it's some of the stylized shots, and that's it, just the good stuff, and that's used as a calling card. I don't know, maybe that's where this movie started from. Maybe it did start as a short story that's been stretched out. But that's also part of the problem with this movie. It feels very, very, very much like a short story that's been stretched out to 85 minutes. It is only 85 minutes long, but it drags on quite a bit. The pacing is very, very slow. You contrast that with a movie like Oppenheimer. It's a 3-hour movie, but Oppenheimer just like zips along at such a pace, whereas the 85 minute Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, still can't believe it. The pace is just quite slow and not consistent and just not great. It reminded me of another low-budget movie that I saw recently, Terrifier, and Terrifier 2 to a lesser extent. Terrifier is undoubtedly a better movie than Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. But Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey at times looks better, looks like a bigger budget movie than Terrifier. At times it doesn't, but at times it does. However, the pace of a movie like Terrifier really stands out as being effective and being on point. Terrifier was gory and scary and well-paced and well-timed. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey is just gory. There's no real scares, and there's no pace to it. It just fails to build any tension, and for a horror movie to work, you really need to build tension, and it didn't. I know I've kind of bashed this movie, and don't get me wrong, it's not a great movie, but it does show promise, and the fact that they made it in 8 days on what I would assume is, a shoestring budget of like a couple of pence and some chewing gum, it's amazing what they were able to pull off in that respect. So as much as I didn't like this movie, I don't think this is a good movie. I am going to keep an eye on what the filmmakers do next, because I think with a little more resources, with more money, with a better budget, with a more seasoned cast, I think they could do something quite good. Apparently they're making a sequel to Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. I don't know if they've shot that yet or if it is officially going ahead, but I did read an article saying that was happening, so time will tell. They could call it Blood and Honey 2. This time it's personal. Now, the movie didn't get a theatrical release in the UK, I don't think, and it's not even had a home video release in the UK. I think there's weird issues with the copyright terms in the UK compared to the rest of the world. From what I read, it's another few years before the Winnie the Pooh character can legally be used in the UK. Anyway, that's a long way of saying I imported a steelbook from Germany. Through amazon.co.uk, it was on sale there, but it's a German steelbook that's been sent to me. I'll link in the description below for that one. So while the movie isn't great, the steelbook design is pretty fantastic. I'm going to give the movie 4 out of 10, but I'm going to give the steelbook 8 out of 10. I will link to a showcase and unboxing video down below and here for that. That's it, folks. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.